long hair. We don't want any product getting stuck, especially the latex, in your hair. First, start by grabbing your prosthetic. This is one that I've just made out of a simple sculpt and some latex. I'll show you how to do this in another tutorial. Because my nose is slightly smaller than the prosthetic, I am going to fill it full of just a bit of cotton pad. I've just ripped it up and I'm popping it at the end of the nose. Now grabbing your spirit gum, I'm just going to open it so we can make sure it's to hand really quickly. Just pop that to one side. Making sure that your prosthetic definitely fits. You may need to trim around at this point if you're not that advanced with prosthetics, just so it has a better fit. We're just going to pop that spirit gum around the edges. You don't want to cover the whole nose because then it'll be really difficult to remove. And also, spirit gum gets really, really sticky. So you might find it actually harder to apply the nose if the whole thing is covered in spirit gum. So I'm really making sure that the whole edge is covered, and we're just going to set that aside. It's really important that your spirit gum is tacky before you stick it on, making sure that my bottle is closed so it doesn't dry out. To start with, to prep the face, I'm going to just use a little bit of witch hazel all over, so there's no grease, there's nothing that's going to stop that prosthetic sticking. I'm now going to create a bit more of an anchor onto the top parts of the nose that I'm going to want that prosthetic to stick and not move. So I'm going on the top of the nose, just underneath the nose and to the side, because I tend to find that's where our face has the most movement, so it does tend to struggle. Again, this needs to be tacky before the prosthetic can be applied. Triple checking that's gone tacky. I'm now going to slowly press on the prosthetic to my nose. Just take your time with this. It can be a little bit tricky, but you'll eventually get there. I prefer to go on my top and bottom anchor and then push outwards. This will enable you to push the air out and create the flattest application you can and the smoothest. Perfect. Make sure it's dry a little bit. I'm now grabbing a bit of latex on a sponge and I'm going around all my edges and even onto the prosthetic a little bit. This will help you create a bit more of a flatter surface and a nice blend. Latex prosthetics, they're cheap to make, so they're the most common thing that we would use, especially in theatre or shoots, but they can tend to be really tricky to blend into the skin and hide. So you create like a bit of a barrier with your latex, but making sure that you let it dry in between each layer before applying. This can take a couple of layers. Just adding my final layer of latex because I feel like it's getting to the point where it's smooth enough now that I can hide the seam. But you could honestly put as many layers on as you like. It can sometimes take a while, but you'll get there. Just making sure you let them dry in between. Patch tests must be done 24 to 48 hours just behind the ear to avoid any allergic reactions. Any redness or itchiness, please remove product and go to your doctors. Once we have done our soap brows, take our setting powder and put it onto a cotton pad. Push into the brows, this will set it. Using face paint and a buffing brush, we're now going to wet the face paint a little bit and dab it onto our faces. You don't want to brush it all over because this will create streaks, so we're just patting it into the skin. Avoid the prosthetic for now, just make sure that you get a good coverage. This could take a few layers, but just keep going at it until you have a nice blend. Now using a smaller blending brush, repeat the process around the nose and touch up any small areas that you feel need a little bit more coverage with our green face paint. Now using our white face paint and a flat brush to highlight, I like to go around in C shapes around the eyes and onto the cheekbones and a little bit onto the chin. This might seem really dramatic, but once you blend it out, it will slightly take that greenish tinge, and also on stage this will be picked up really well and help show facial expression. With an angled brush and a deep brown, I'm going to start contouring the face. We're going to go down in a slight angle to create more of a gaunt look. I want to make it quite dramatic because this needs to stand out on stage. Once this makeup's under the light, it needs to be twice as dramatic because the light will bleach out all the detail that you've put in. Obviously, this is not a pretty witch. She's been in the woods, she's grotty, she's going to be underfed, and we want her to look quite gory. To add to that gaunt look, take a small blending brush and the same brown. Go into the eye sockets and into the nostrils. These will deepen the sockets. Now to age our witch. Take a small bruise wheel if you have one, or a slight grease paint. You can use a purpley powder and a thin brush. Work on building that eye socket up again and blend out slightly with your finger. It's alright to have quite harsh lines when in theatre, but you also do want to create that seamless edge to create more of a shadow. Now for the fun part. To create wrinkles, smush your face in lots of different directions till you can see where your face naturally creases. It's easier to follow these natural lines and blend them out. We're going to put a slight bit of that purple into those natural lines and then highlight above with a brown and yellow. Taking a thin angled brush and a black, we're now going to draw on our witch eyebrows. Go in and arch shape, starting it from the front of your natural brow, going upwards and flicking. I then add little strokes of hair just to make it look a bit more realistic. Now just add a little mascara, grab your pussycat and your broom, and you are ready to cast some spells. Well done, you've fully completed your witch character look. Thanks for watching and can't wait to see you on your next course.